I'm going to Canada for the BTSL finals, Vancouver. Then after Canada, I'm going to be flying to New York. I'm going to stay in New York for about 5 or 6 days. Then I'm going to go to Philadelphia and stay with Penguin for a few days and see my bros in Philadelphia. And then I'm going to fly to Austin. And that's my little bit of a trip. I'm going to be trying to stream while I'm there. While I'm in the NA, so it's not like I'm going to leave the stream completely alone. Should be fine. And let's kick this off. Let's do this as we have to the top left-hand side. It is our red Protoss player from Splice, Stats. And to the bottom right-hand side, our blue Protoss player is Patience. Alright, so kicking this off and looking to see what's going to be happening as we see a gate of gas coming on in. And we wait to see just what will happen here in this PvP. Now, we've seen a little bit of PvP already today, so we have a pretty good idea as to, in general, how these openers are going to be looking in terms of double gateways. And then we're going to be talking about, you know, a couple of stalkers probably a lot of the time. We haven't really seen a lot of adepts early game either, honestly. It's just a couple of gates coming down right away. And we are going to be seeing the probe starting to move out onto the map. So 2 gates on each side. And we are going to be seeing what happens. What's up, Voice of the Captain? New in the chat, saying hello. Hello. How you doing? Welcome. So going to see this probe going down towards the bottom right and a probe going in towards the upper left. And we are just going to be seeing the cybernetic core about halfway done on each side of the map here. So obviously a minute or two until we get until we really get in towards the tech choices here, until we really start seeing what's going to happen on Catalyst. Which really is, of course, one of these, you know, openers, which really is one of these maps which is a little bit smaller. It's a little bit kind of, you know, very compact. It can be one of the maps where we see some very heavy aggression early on, you know, an extra gateway, 3 gates, 4 gates, pushing forwards with a proxied pylon, initial stalkers can cross the map easily. There's also no ramp up onto the natural, so it makes those attacks early in the game forwards into the natural much easier to execute, rather than, say, on Blackpink, where you have to attack up a ramp and play against high ground to defend the natural, you know, to attack into the natural, so... A bit of a pylon block here. We've been seeing this more and more lately, like pylon blocks on the nexus of your opponents, and I'm just going to be seeing the cancel here to let this adept out. Patience went adept sentry versus stalker sentry. Very slight difference. It means Patience has a little bit more gas to play with from here, and a little bit of map control with this adept as well early in the game. We now see 2 stalkers on the way up on each side of the map, so a couple stalkers coming up on each side. Robo facility dropping down as well in that main base. Again, probe just moves over, drops a pylon, potentially blocks off this little bit of an area. We'll see a shield battery dropping in from Stats as well. The 2 stalkers will come forward to pick off that probe. And again, this adept of Patience is trying to shade up, but not quite making much progress. Just trying to find out any information. You know, again, if he can get in towards the main base, that would be amazing. And Stats finally able to drop his own expansion. Now, Stats was much faster on the Robo facility, and Patience just adds an extra gateway, so we're already starting to see that potential of, you know, just being on the map, controlling it, being aggressive with gateway units early on. But I think with this fast of an Immortal, how successful is a group of stalkers pushing at the front going to be? I just can't see it being that successful at all. I mean, there's Chrono Boost saved up to keep getting this Immortal out nice and quickly. Patience is going to get a Robo of his own, so he will kind of have some sort of a follow-up to this, but if he overcommits to these gate units, he'll still be behind, because he is still going to have less Immortals. But it does give him a follow-up so that he can get away with doing less damage. As you see the hallucination in the main, sees the lateness of that Robo. So I mean, Stats has to look at this and say, well, if we've opened in the same way, we both have double gate, we're both going Robo, why on earth is yours so much later? Now, yes, he did kill the hallucination before Stats saw the 3rd gateway, so Stats could be imagining some other bits and pieces, but when you think about the gas, you know, for the Robo to come down, you know, the gas can't necessarily be in a Twilight Council or anything, and Blink, you know, it could be a Twilight Council, but how could it be Twilight, Blink, and Robo? That's where it gets a little bit difficult to afford, so it's interesting. Stats, I'm actually very surprised, is moving across the map. I don't really see, you know, I really don't understand what he's seen to kind of justify a push across the map like this. I guess he's got the Immortal, and maybe that's been his entire game plan because of getting the Immortal out so quickly. Maybe he just says, okay, well, I don't care what you've done, but the fact you've got a later Robo still allows me to come forwards here, and it is an Observer first out of Patience, playing safe against a potential Dark Shrine. And that's going to be a little bit of a shame. So we should see the first force field cutting this army in half, but that's where already this Warp Prism will come into play. It actually brings units over the ramp, but, well, it's kind of a little bit of an awkward spot here as we see the Warp Prism is getting very low. It's actually going to go down. Stalker's going down in the meanwhile, though. That Immortal is just going to survive. Wow, if that gets its shields back up, this is so bad for Patience, because Stats is going to have such a push forwards with this. He already has the Warp Prism to keep on microing over his opponent. That's actually a huge advantage here. As you're going to see that Immortal takes a shot, so its shield stop regenerating. But the Stalkers just can't get close enough to it, and this Immortal's just fighting from a distance. And Stats looks as though he might just be about to break Patience here and now. A couple of Stalkers going to warp in. I mean, there's the Immortal coming in from Patience, and Stats saves his own Immortal. So nice. There's actually a couple of Stalkers warping in from Patience. He does kill the Warp Prism. He kills the Immortal too. What can Stats get done at the end of this? He's just going to trade out for Stalkers, I think. I don't think he goes after the Immortal yet. Maybe now? Another Immortal being chrono boosted, and Stats will back away, but he's taking a 10 worker lead from this position. So nicely done. I mean, Stats just going to start up the Warp Prism once again, so he gets a new one out. I mean, potential further aggression here. He has to kill the shield battery to get access to his natural, so probes can transfer down. He's actually massively oversaturated, so even though he had a worker lead, he wasn't actually getting anything out of that worker lead for a little while here. It's a shame as we see this Adept from Patience hopping up in towards the main base. These two Adepts of Stats come in, and they will be able to shut that Adept down. So Adept does fall. And again here from Stats, the Stalkers moving out into the middle. A couple of sentries are warping in on the natural. Warp Prism's about to pop out and start moving in towards the upper left-hand side. In the middle of the map now, Patience obviously feels as though it's his counter-attack time. Stats sheds two Adepts right into that army, which obviously isn't ideal at all. And we are going to be seeing, well, it's kind of weird because Stats is down and Immortal going into this fight. He'll warp in a couple more Stalkers. His Prism already here. Again, if you could target down the Prism of Patience, that would really slow things down. Stats doesn't need to kind of take a fight here, though. That's the difference, because he's already ahead on workers. And Patience isn't rebuilding probes. He's completely all in with this counterattack now. Nice lift up, saves the sentry at the last moment. I guess he's bought himself a lot of time Stats, but he was really playing with fire because a bad set of force fields and suddenly Patience jumps on that army and takes the fight, which is really going to be difficult to deal with as Stats will see this army coming along. He's going to keep his Prism at home because, while it might be nice to get a couple of warp-ins across the map, even nicer is the micro potential this Warp Prism gives you over here with the army. I mean, being able to save the Immortals on low health, for example, is that sort of thing which really goes a long way. For example, right there, the Immortal's already saved. Stalker's fighting away. Stalker's versus Adepts in terms of gateway units built here. I feel like the Adepts are overall just that little bit better. They're going to try and move up the ramp in towards the main. They do cancel the Shade. Two more Stalkers warped in from Patience. Here we go. Again, the Immortal Micro has to be on point from Stats, lifting them up at the last second here every time. Stats does have that defensive position, which for now is helping him hold on. Another Immortal shows up to the party. And again, just keeping those Immortals alive. They just never seem to die. Patience has to use his Warp Prism to warp in. And that's the biggest difference of all here, because having to use your Warp Prism to warp in means that you can't use it to micro as much as Stats can. Now, we did see Stats losing out on a lot of his units in the last stages of this, but he still has triple Immortal just about alive. And he's still lifting these units up to trade so nicely with them. And a little bit of back and forth here. Just has to break through these Immortals. And he can afford to bring a few probes into this as well, which is also one of the power parts of this play. Patience is going to get pushed away here as he does drop down, kill an Immortal. He loses an Immortal too. The Immortal battle is kind of intense, but Patience, and again, he's got nothing else to really play for right now, as he's going to be seeing this one Immortal here is trying to dance around, jump around. Stalker's going to jump on towards the Prism in the main base now. The Immortals have their barriers. It's an Immortal for an Immortal, but then again, Adepts are the only thing left over, and with only Adepts here, Patience, he just doesn't have enough. Stats is sat on 42 workers, so over time, you know, he's holding on while going into a Twilight Council, going into a Forge. He's going to improve his position in this game. Now, some Adepts will try and even up the worker count here, but two Adepts and Immortal of Stats defensively will do the job in terms of pushing this away. So those two Adepts are going to get chased down, and they are going to be dropping in the next few moments, or they're going to shade away in the next few moments. They shade towards the natural, where they just get picked off anyways. Patience made a new Immortal, but it's not walking across the map, which I kind of feel like he has to go for, right? I mean, he's still in this position where he's only on 23 probes. He's not building up to play a longer game. I think he's just not realized his Immortal isn't moving across the map, or maybe he did because he moved it forwards there. And you can, you know, even though his main base is mined out, okay, there's the GG. Even though his main base is mined out, he still needs to take the 2-0 lead, or whether Patience can fight back. We saw some DT play on Blackpink earlier from Patience, so maybe things will get a little bit stealthy and hidden here. As we have to the bottom left-hand side, the red Protoss player from Splice. This is Stats. Going up against the blue Protoss player to the top right-hand side, Patience. Game 2 of this best of 5 series, and looking to see what will come of this in the next few minutes. Getting ready to go game number 2, and obviously PvP once again, so we kind of know what the first 2 minutes of this game is going to look like as the double gateway and the cybernetics core begins to build. So for now, we just sort of sit here and wait to see exactly how it plays out. Patience go game 2, says Twitching Duck in the chat. Do let us know who you're cheering on today, guys. Do always enjoy seeing you guys cheering on players in the chat, cheering on certain strats, certain races. Obviously a PvP finals, but yeah, do let us know who you're cheering on. Again, in 1 hour and 45 minutes, we're going to be going live with our WardiTV Season 4 Finals qualifier number 1. It's actually going to be a another event here today, and if you are wanting to play on the European server, you are welcome to sign up. If you go to the Team Liquid thread, you'll be able to find the sign-up link. I'll be posting in chat later on, but once on our Twitter at WardiTV, we've tweeted it out just recently. So do get signed up. We'd love to see you guys coming and taking part in qualified today. It would be great to see you all taking part, and yeah, it's just another event we got going on. And like we've been saying, once this series is wrapped up, we've got a couple of sets of replays I'd like to cast for you guys that were played in this tournament, but we didn't get to cast live ourselves. And then we have and from there we actually have a bunch of basically then we're going to be going straight into our next tournament. So like we've been saying, there's going to be a nice long stream from us today, probably minimum 9 hours, probably up to 10 depending on how long that qualifier takes a little bit later on. We do see the sentry popping out here from Patience, and the Stalker too. From stats, it's double Stalker, and he does have a slightly faster Stargate because of it, because of course the sentry is quite the gas investment, but it does mean that, again, Patience will have scouting potential, although scouting will not come in early enough to see the Stargate, and so it's going to be a bit of a gamble here by both as to what they go into. A Phoenix will generally be better in a Stargate versus Stargate scenario, but it can just be dead weight against other openers, whereas obviously the Oracle will get in there and start killing some workers. It's possible they both go Oracle, which would be kind of a little bit intriguing, but if they both go, if one goes Oracle and the other goes Phoenix, it should be a very good defense, and it isn't Oracle from stats. Shield Battery on the natural from Patience, not in the main base. The one Oracle does have the chance to get some damage done. And cheering Patience towards not playing like hot trash so we can actually have a game, says Beyond Petroleum. I do think Patience is a little bit better than stats right now, although I have to say, with this current setup, he has a Phoenix out, that's the hallucination, but this is a real Phoenix. The Phoenix against the Oracle is going to be huge here. It will give Patience the early advantage in this PvP, so this is going well for him. This is a best of 5, by the way, guys. Best of 5. Game number 2 right now. Stats leads 1-0. The Oracle approaching the main base. No shield battery here. This Oracle has to suicide because as he sees the Phoenix, there's no way he's going to get home. So he goes for 2 workers, but that's all. And that's a very expensive Oracle. To not really get much done. A second Oracle going to try and come across the map. Now, if the second Oracle can hide away from the Phoenix and get around them or something, that would be amazing. But the Phoenix is going to intercept this Oracle here, and that's going to be dead Oracle number 2. It's just not going to get any damage done. It's going to be chased by this Phoenix relentlessly, and obviously the Phoenix doesn't need to slow down to attack, so once he's in range, the Oracle will go down. It drops a Revelation. I mean, what else are you meant to do with it? Nothing at all. Obviously this is not going to turn into Phoenix versus Phoenix because of stats open with the Oracles, but it gives Patience a big advantage because, again, he shut down 2 Oracles for 2 probes. He cost him just a couple of Phoenix, which are still going to be useful moving on from here. I'd even like to see him go up to 3 or 4 Phoenix to really get some worker damage done. Feels as though he can get even more use out of those couple of Phoenix, which he already has. Would make sense, as we do see the Forge and the Robo Facility from Patience coming down too, so Stats is still going to end up being the faster player of the tech. He's still going to have a few more probes. Somehow, Stats, I mean, let's look at the unit count. I guess because he doesn't have the sentries, right? Patience built a bunch of sentries, and so he's going to have force fields and guardian shields, but Stats will not. So Stats has slightly faster tech, but not as many kind of higher tech units on the map. It's kind of weird. It's like, it's one of those scenarios which, like, you look at it, it's like, mirror matchups just make no sense sometimes. They can get weird though. They can create some pretty, again, I guess, interesting is a bit of a dull word, honestly, but they can, you know, they can create very different matches, and they can, you know, they don't always go quite the way you kind of think, because the very slight differences can actually have a very big impact on the game. And Stats getting in here, talking about him already being ahead in workers, and that just, you know, confirms that. 4 workers killed, now a 6 worker lead from Stats. Continue to hold the eco advantage. Another couple of gateways coming down here from Patience, another pylon coming up to the side, and we are just going to be having still back at home Stats with another couple of gateways, another Twilight Council building in the main. It's just setting himself up in towards the, at this stage, probably straight to charge, right? I mean, yes, he's got some stalkers on the map, but, you know, 6.5 minutes in game. What the fuck, there's a bee in my room? Oh my god. Guys, I'm under attack. It's gonna attack me! Please leave. Guys, why is it summer? I preferred it when it was cold and there was no bees. Can you guys make it leave? Oh my god, it's massive. It keeps flying near my computer, nowhere else. Stop flying towards me, please. I don't like it. Why me? Why now? Leave. Leave, bee, leave. It's not fun in here. The window's much more fun. Okay, guys. I'm going to jump onto someone else's webcam, and we're going to follow and see what they do. Oh my god, I'm trying to dance around the bee. Bee, please leave. I'll go this side, you go that side. No, stop following me. Guys. I really don't like bees. Yeah, that's right. Go towards the window. No, go up, up, up. Window. Window, bee, window. Please. Go, I believe in you. No, that's me. Not towards me, towards the window. Up, up, yes. Nelly. Nelly. The bee's gonna leave, guys. My god, that was fucking terrifying. It just came out of nowhere. You guys have no idea. It's massive. It's like... It's insanely large. Yes, it's so close to the window. It just isn't quite leaving. No. How am I to cast StarCraft when there's a bee attacking me? I don't even know what's going on in the game. Oh my god, I lost the bee. I don't know where it's gone. Okay. We're going to try and continue. I'm going to sit back down. The bee isn't here right now. Okay. So. +2 in charge is about to finish, apparently. Guys, it's very hard to ignore the bee when it's flying in front of my face. Okay? It's not easy. It was attacking me. It was flying at me. Okay, it looks as though we're going to be having Stats here. Is getting ready to go in towards a little bit of a push forwards, but a War Prism in the main is going to cause him to recall everything. Stats was actually ahead on the upgrade for a few seconds there, and by about 20 army supplies, so it could have really been a moment or two for him to attack on in, to push on in with an advantage, but now he's not really going to have that advantage, so... well, I guess he still has the army lead, and it's actually Patience that's getting aggressive, so defensively this should be amazing for Stats, right? Because he's going to set up into the position where he's going to have the army lead, and he's the defender, so naturally Patience will be running into a concave, and Stats should just have, you know, the easier time with, you know, defensive warp-ins. He can use his Warp Prism for micro because he has pylons to warp in from instead. So let's see, and see what's going to happen. As we're going to be seeing units just coming in from Patience, coming around the left-hand side. And we are going to be seeing Stats. Well, let's see if he can make a defense happen right now. As we're going to be seeing the Zealots charging forwards. A couple of Hallucinated Colossus, obviously a nice little idea from Patience. He is actually starting to win out in this fight, I think, Patience. He's got an army supply lead for a moment. The Hallucinated Colossus tanked a little bit of damage. Warp Prism warping in a few extra Zealots which come into the fight. Stats needs a warp in right now to survive this, but he doesn't have it. The Archon camp from Patience is going to be good enough. And we are going to be able to see this is a cleanup, I think. Well, some more Zealots warp in. Can that turn this around from Stats? Maybe. Oh wow, is Stats really going to turn this away? You gotta remember that some of Patience's army here's the Colossus, and as the Immortals fall, the Archons have dropped. Somehow Stats holds on. Wow, Patience comes out of this with just a couple of High Templar left over. I mean, just warping in another couple of Archons now. And we're just going to be seeing Stats holding onto his third base. Down a few workers after this, but back up into the army supply lead. Wow, what a turnaround in that fight. It was a real back and forth fight, actually. Like, really, between the two of them. A lot of a lot of kind of little micro bits and pieces. Patience was really pushing through for a moment, but when he got to here, and the warp in from here came in from behind, that really hurt him, and he lost his own warp prism, so he couldn't actually warp in aggressively anymore, which meant that he was starting to lose that battle, and that may have been the moment where he should have just turned around and just taken his leave. We are going to be seeing the warp prism. Gonna get recalled away here because you can see that Stats is kind of on the hunt to try and find an answer to the warp prism, so just looking around to see what he can get. I'm absolutely terrified of this bee, guys. I know it's not going to attack me, but I just have like the natural reflex to move the fuck away when it flies at my face. I hope you kind of understand. And it keeps flying at my face. What do you think you want from my face, bee? Like, go. You're so close to the window. No, that was the window, but you missed. He hit the windowsill. Bees have such bad aim. Well, we do see a couple of Zealots and Archons from Stats moving forwards. A little bit of a counter attack from Patience, though we'll start to get some damage done. Stats is already down on workers, but up in army, so it's kind of one of these moments where if he doesn't do something soon, the worker count will start to come into play from Patience. Patience also has +3 coming in, so in the long term, Patience is in the better position. A few more Zealots just coming into the party as well, and we are going to be seeing, well, it is going to be a cleanup for now. There's a War Prism still over here, but the Phoenix has found it. DT's coming in though, and that makes it even more difficult to deal with. And Stats, I think, is beginning to realize that maybe he should just commit into the attack, but oh, he's got the Observer here, and you can see him pulling the Observer back because he doesn't want it to come into play. He knows he can't have it come into play, because if it does, it'll get sniped down, and then the DTs will get a lot done, but Patience has to back away, and Stats is going to break through the third base. At the same time, again, DTs are doing something over here, but there's an Observer out, so the cleanups start to happen. Stats with good multitasking, able to attack while also defending back at home. The bee's out the window. We're clear. We're safe. Whew, this was the most stressful cast of my life, I swear. Holy shit. Whew. Archons are going to keep on fighting here. Stats has this. Too large an army. The upgrade advantage doesn't matter. And that's GG. Stats takes game number 2. Yes, let's go to the bottom side of the map. Up 2-0. Third game of the series is our Blue Protoss player, Stats. And to the top left-hand side, our Red Protoss player is, of course, Patience. I'm not scared of bees. Just if you suddenly see a massive thing right next to you, sometimes you panic. And then when it keeps trying to be your friend, sometimes you can't quite look at the game of StarCraft 2 and commentate it because, believe it or not, it's kind of very distracting. Oh my god. What an absolute nightmare. Anyways, that's the first time we've ever been attacked by a bee in the studio, so I think it's okay. I don't think we need to go and, train martial arts versus bees or something, guys. It's okay. We just had a bit of a moment. We're all good now, though. As we dive into this third game, we get to see what's going to happen here between Patience and Stats. Stats is one map away from the $300 first place prize. And, I mean, it really got troubling for him. I can't believe he was able to defend that attack on the left-hand side of his third base when he was just so close to dying off. But he got the extra warp and he shut down the prism, and those are the important things in fights like that. The one warp in difference can be absolutely huge. It can be a game changer. And it really was the momentum shift there that Stats needed to suddenly just somehow make this work out. Did I catch the pigeon? No, well, this is actually a great story to fill a couple of minutes as both players begin to expand. So, one day, we're selling our house at the moment, last summer. Our house was up for sale, and one day we have, like, a viewing at, like 11 AM or something. And usually I just get out the house and, avoid, being in the way, basically, so people can look around and whatever. So, issue was, I casted late the night before, so I woke up kind of early. I came to the studio, because, I just sit around somewhere for me to be. But I decided to just take a nap in the studio because it was a nice day, so I put the window up and opened the window, put some music on, and I just sort of had a little bit of a nap. And I wake up, and it's like, I wake up and it's sort of like, like a prophet. It's almost like a prophecy. Like I'm seeing a deity, because I open my eyes and obviously the window's a bit bright. I see this like silhouette, and I'm like, Lord, is that you? And then it's a pigeon, and it's just sat on the windowsill. I'm like, oh shit! And I like jump back a little bit. Well, I'm kind of like lying down in my chair, so like sort of jump over it, and the pigeon's like, what the fuck? You're alive? And the pigeon's like, well, shit, better fly in here. So the pigeon flew in, and it flew around the room, and me and this pigeon were having this dance, like, oh my god, get the fuck out. The pigeon was like, oh my god, you're an actual person. I was just chilling on a windowsill. Why are you inside this room? And the pigeon flew into the studio light and knocked it over in the process, and I kind of caught it, but then I kind of didn't, and I dropped it. And usually the studio light's fine because it's inside like a coating and stuff, but the light bulb hit onto the arm of my chair and it shattered. And then the pigeon was like, well shit, that sucks, and then he left. No more, you know, nothing else to be seen. So yeah, that was the day the pigeon attacked. Great, isn't it? Blink here from stats already finished. Blink from patience is a little bit later, but he does have... Oh, actually, I don't know why patience is so much later. I guess just a slightly faster expand. Slightly different ways of doing this. Introduce it. And no, I don't own a house. It was my parents' house. I still live with my parents. So, yeah. That was the... It's my parents selling their house still. Anyways, we are going to be seeing these stalkers coming up the ramp from stats. Just having blink already is great, but... The Immortal shows up, and we are going to see the sentries being targeted. That's nice from stats, because it's really kind of, you know, worthwhile damage, you know, really valuable damage. Every sentry is like 100 gas just disappearing. And sentries are units which, as they stay in the game longer, you get more value, you get more guardian shields, more force fields, the energy regenerates, right? So it's nice to get rid of those, and they're easy targets too. They're pretty weak on their own. You know, they sit here, they're light, they take, you know, a lot of damage, they don't have much armor. You know, they go down pretty quickly. So in general, I mean, the fact that light doesn't really change things, but they're pretty flimsy, right? Like 80 health, so they're easy things to pick off. So Stats gets some value with his earlier blink here, and worker counts even as blink finishes up for patience. Stats getting his own robo up to get in towards his own immortal. Seems like Wardy's major life problems can be fixed by closing the windows. No, because then I have the first world problem of like it being too warm. I need like a screen. That's the real answer, but you know, that's a donation goal waiting to happen. Anyways, probes are attacking on alien stalkers are actually alone here, because across the map patience is starting to push. So Stats actually has to buy some time. He doesn't have a recall available in the natural. He does on the main, but I think Stats wants to make sure he's done enough damage first. Now he recalls home. He still has some force fields available, which he needs to use to really make the most of this now. These stalkers coming down from the main take so long to arrive, so he's going to lose some probes of his own. This counter-attack from Patience is doing a lot. Stats is just a moment or two away from getting his own charge, but Patience is like, okay, cool. Now I feel I've done enough damage. However, having taken a 10-worker lead, there's actually a third base up from Stats, and that's pretty significant, because already having a third base, plus the fact that, you know, if Patience wants a third, it's going to be 400 minerals he has to invest. Stats will regain the worker count quite quickly. Patience actually seems as though this is why he doesn't seem to care. He's just going to go and attack again, so he's going to get ready for round 2 immediately. So it's all about the aggression here from Patience. He's only on 3 gates though, Stats on 6 with a Templar Archives coming up, Charge about to finish, +1 about to finish. Soon Stats' army is really the power army here. Blinks forwards and he gets caught by a force field, but he gets a Stalker at least, so Stalker for Stalker. Backing away now, loses another Stalker to the Blink. Wants to play defensively. I mean, he's just gotten himself another Immortal starting up in production. +1 will finish up here. Prism in the main with Immortals, though, is so difficult to deal with, because what do you even put into position there? Kills the Observer. The Observer with Stats staying alive at least. We are going to be seeing these Immortals really starting to do some work, so Stats is losing mining time. At the front, Stats is going to lose his Immortals, so Patience just blinks on in. The +1 attack upgrade doesn't seem to matter, as Patience just with the positioning, although now he's going to lose his Immortals. Well, how quickly is he going to lose these Immortals? It's taking a little while to clean them up. On the low ground, the Stalkers are definitely doing well. Another Immortal pops out. The Stalkers should blink on that ASAP, though. Clean it out as soon as he can, as the rest of the Stalkers here from Stats try to blink in to save the day. He's starting to warp in some Zealots. Stats is beginning to hold on to this somehow. I mean, cleaning out the Immortals in the main is obviously very nice. Kills that Warp Prism too, goes a long way. We are going to be seeing the +1 attack upgrade on the Forge from Patience now coming through. He starts his own third nexus in the corner. He doesn't know that Stats has a third base, and I feel as though if he did, he maybe would have tried to take it down on the exit here, because why wouldn't you? If you're going to walk away with those Stalkers, they have Blink anyways, just try to take down the base, because at worst you just blink away and you lose nothing. So I think Patience didn't realize Stats has a third, and without that information, it's going to be difficult for him to kind of maybe cement this lead as he maybe feels like he can. I mean, he's definitely in a lead. He's been on a worker lead for a while. He's about to get +1, so that's going to even out. He's getting 5 more gates, so he's going to take a gateway lead as well. He is missing a Templar Archives, but he adds that now, so he'll have Archons in the near future. So if a couple of Archons come in play, that'll kind of even out with the, something that Stats has already. Stats splits his army. He's getting ready to deal with the potential kind of attack in of his opponent. Still 7 workers down here, Stats, as he just begins to saturate up this third. Patience is already on the gases on the third base, so that's one of the big differences here at the moment. That Stats just hasn't taken extra gas, maybe because he's just looking to play a bit more Zealot heavy. But that only goes so far for you, as we do see these Stalkers seen by the Observer. The Observer of Patience just a little bit behind here. Stats pulling his away, knowing that there's very likely an Observer coming through. Just going to double check they're still there, seeing what he can. The more information he has, the easier it is to play out this sort of scenario, of course. 2 Immortals in this prism, heading down to the south side, and we are going to be seeing, well, it's a similar attack to before, but Stats has a few Stalkers to try and shut this down nice and easily, nice and quickly even. We are going to be having Patience here with the prism just sat down to the south, and here we go, these Stalkers of Patience started coming through, getting a couple of probes already. That's going to be seeing this War Prism continuing out from Stats now, so he's going to get some micro potential in his own army. 51 to 50 workers, Stats a little bit behind on +2, Patience with the map control, and even a 4th base starting. So you gotta definitely look at this as Patience being maybe a little bit favoured here. But I think Stats is really fighting back, his army supply is getting back up there, he's keeping up on the upgrades. He's still only on 4 gases though. So Stats is really on way less gas income, and that's going to start being reflected in the army comps here. So many more Zealots for Stats versus more Archons from Patience. Generally, I would say more Archons will definitely go a lot further in a fight, but enough Zealots can really change things around as well. Stats knows something's coming. He knows there's a Warp Prism, probably. I mean, look at that. He warps in 2 Zealots here, and why would he warp in Zealots unless you're expecting some sort of an attack? It doesn't mean if that Stats goes across the map, he'll have a 2 Immortal advantage in a fight, because 2 Immortals are currently just sat in this prism, unless there's going to be a recall back home, which is a possibility. Let's keep that in mind here. 2 more Sentries warping in as well. Sorry, not Sentries, High Templar. Obviously, it allows him for another prism. Okay, now he does bring units across the map, and now Patience can maybe get some damage done with these Immortals. He's going to get the Observer into the main to scout. These Immortals will get a lot done, so Immortals are going to get to work. Meanwhile, Stats has to decide what he wants to do. Does he recall home? I mean, can he recall home? He has no energy on the 3rd base, but do you really want to recall to the 3rd? Not really. And here we go. Stats is just going to jump on this. The Zealots are going to try and get the job done against the additional Archons. Stalkers blink in. Those Zealots do such a good job initially, but eventually the Archon splash damage and reinforcements of Patience start to bleed on through. And I think with the Immortals doing damage on the other side, killing the pylons is going to unpower the gateways. Stats is doing the same though, and Immortal drop in the main is going to unpower all of these gates, so neither player can warp in. But it's Stats who just has so much less army supply already standing on the map. He's going to try and micro around here to kind of pick off what he can, but he knows it's not good. GG, and Patience takes the 3rd game. Number 4. So, Patience evens it up. A good opener for Patience, I feel, and really just sort of played it out nicely. The couple of Immortals attacking obviously went well, and while there was moments where Stats felt as though he was maybe getting back towards, a reasonable position in the game, at the end of the day, it just wasn't really enough. So, thank you, Andy, for the cheer 300 in the chat as well, saying, here, have some bits to go buy a Windows screen. Okay, I'm going to buy a Windows screen. Thank you so much for the bits, though. I do appreciate the 300 bits and the other bits coming through as well, guys. Thank you very much for the support. To the bottom right-hand side, our red Protoss player from Splice is Stats. Still up 2 to 1. Let's see if you can close this out and take home the $300 for the first place prize. As to the top left, our blue Protoss player is Patience. DJ Chris Spear coming through with the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you so much. And don't forget, guys, Twitch Prime users can still buy 500 bits for $1. That's a great deal. And if you are a Twitch Prime user, you can subscribe to the channel for free, get your hands on the replay pack, and so much more. DJ Crispy, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. Welcome back to the Wardy family. I am 99.9% certain you've been a sub before. So welcome back. Good to see you again. It's crazy. I wonder how well I would do if someone said to me, Wardy, write down the names of as many of your subscribers as possible. I wonder how many I'd get. What do you guys think? Do you think I get 100? I think if we get 100 out of 350, it'd be pretty good, considering a lot of them are like Twitch Prime subs for the first time or something. I think I could get like about 100. Maybe? Maybe it's very hard actually. Depends on how much time I had. It's an interesting question. I get one at least. Get WardiBot. Easy. Easy. Warp gate on the way on both sides of the map. Couple gates coming down. Going to see a pylon here from Patience. Just onto the natural expansion. So, getting this set up, we do see a robo facility coming in the main base, and we're all going to be seeing the. We're all going to be seeing the. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, we kind of get that feeling when you just sort of completely forget anything you could possibly say about the game. As this pylon goes down, obviously stats going to begin to expand. A couple of sentries on the way from both. Just again, a faster robo from Patience, so maybe even trying for a similar sort of attack here again as what we saw in the last game. Robo facility coming up, and a nexus on each side of the map in the natural is pretty evenly timed, so it's really just stats later on the robo, but he does get it now. Yeah, so you're just going to be setting up into this, and I'm just going to be seeing the Stalker on the way out too. So some Stalkers coming through. There's the Immortal from Patience again. Maybe aggression. We'll keep our eyes on him over the next couple of moments. No way could I get 100. 8 max, 42. 25 would be awesome. I think I could easily do 25. Because I think I have enough mods and stuff that would make 25 and like old friends, you know. Try it now, I've got 2 minutes. Huh. I could try it. 2 minutes is a long time to like... 2 minutes is a long time to try and name 100 though. It's a short time to name 100. Try naming 10. I can do 10 right off the back. Duttles, Adzi, Dark One's Port, Pathon. Oh my god, I forgot everyone. Mjolki, Ascorbic Acid, I mean Euthermal, it's easy. Optimus, Harstum, like there's 10 straight away, that's so easy. 10 is so easy. Like 10's just like my mods and friends, and that wasn't even all the mods, all my friends, all the pros, like 10's way too easy I think. I definitely think we could do, I think maybe 100 50 maybe. Anyways. Warp Prism on the way up. This is more important to kind of get into the game right now, as we do have a couple of depth shading forwards, a few Stalkers off to the side, a Hallucinated Phoenix coming forwards as well into the center of the map, and well, obviously Patience is the one that's going to be aggressive, and Stats sees it, so he has a shield barrier. This time his robo was a lot faster, so he's not trying to defend with Blink, he's going to be defending with an Immortal and a Prism of his own, and also remember that this time he isn't in this weird scenario where his Stalkers are across the map, and so then kind of out of position to deal with this aggression, so... Altogether here, Patience not really going to get much done. Stats kind of just matches what Patience has, and so no real opportunity. We will see the Warp Prism just loading up and going in towards the main base. We're just going to see a couple of Stalkers starting to target down the Prism. How many US states could I name? Ooh, maybe half of them, like 25? I don't think I'd get all of them. Definitely not. I think at least 25 though would be... possibility. Anyways, I see a Prism coming down the right hand side. I see a few sentries and Stalkers to the right side though. Actually no, he catches this Prism. If he had Blink that would have been 2 dead Immortals. I mean, it's still very close to 2 dead Immortals. That Prism goes low, 35 health. It's just a couple Stalker shots away from being taken down. Prism's armored? Is a Warp Prism armored? I kind of feel like it is. Is it? I don't even know. What about Andyman? Well, I wasn't... That's the thing as well. I was not using any of the subs that are talking right now, because obviously that's just straight up cheating, isn't it? You know? A couple of Immortals could come in here, and we are going to be seeing the Armored Warp Prism. It is armored, I knew that. Armored Warp Prism comes in and starts to do some damage across the map. Apparently, everyone's just like, oh, cool. I remember how to Immortal Drop, and so Immortal Drops are the flavor of the day. This Immortal Drop actually gets rid of the Resonating Glaives coming up here, so slows that down, and he does kill quite a lot of probes. This was definitely better for stats than patience. He kills 6 probes, and on the other side of the map he defends so well. The Hallucinate Archon, that's not real. Can't trick me. And we are going to be seeing the Immortal. He's going to be taking some damage right here, so Immortal has to lift up, and we do just see patience flying back away towards the top side, and stats going around in towards the main base again in the next few moments. So again, stats trying to find a little bit more damage. We see Adept, Sentries, and Immortal coming through the center now, and we are going to be seeing again a well, just this Prism of Stats just flying backwards and forwards a little bit to see what else is going on. Another couple of sentries are warping in, and so Stats really is just gathering together now in this position where he's done so much damage with these Immortals that all he has to do is hold a counterattack. But that's going to be difficult because there is Resonating Glaives for these Adepts, so they have an upgrade. Plus one about to finish for Stats in the next 5 seconds or so. But he's already starting to lose a couple of units. He's got shield batteries in position at least, so that will help to slow this attack down. Warping coming in, another few Adepts arrive into the battle. Stats is slowly starting to bleed out in army supply. He's done so much damage across the map, but if he can't clean up at home, what does it even matter? As we are going to be seeing these Adepts just continue to shut this down, and for all the damage Stats has done, now he's going to take it all himself. Patience just with the better army on the map. Just having that Resonating Glaives and hitting his Glaives timing before Glaives kind of become useless in the matchup. There you go, GG's and Patience. Number 5 of Patience versus Stats. What a series. Going to all 5 games, and also filling up our time quite nicely as we build up towards our second event of the day in just 1 hour time. 1 hour's time. To the top left hand side is going to be our blue Protoss player, Patience. And to the bottom right, our red Protoss from Splice. This is Stats. It's been taken to a game 5 here. Patience, really not what I thought. I really thought after 2 games that I was just going to be seeing a 3-0 stomp here from Stats, but Patience has delivered a couple of aggressive builds, some good timings, which keep catching Stats just a little bit off guard. While Stats was prepared for the first attack this time around, he definitely wasn't ready for the Resonating Glaives follow-up, and despite all the damage he did, he was still just not able to hold on against the large army pushing on through and getting ready to go. Yeah, guys, if I was a Pokemon trainer, I would be terrible at training bees, and I'd be terrible at training bug type, and I'd be terrible at training Pidgeys. I'd have to stick to real Pokemon. What a shame. Bee used Buzz, it was very effective. More like Bee used Fly up Woody's face, and it was super effective. Oh, yeah. It didn't just buzz at me, it flew at my face. Anyways, guys, we get into this game number 5, and obviously that means we are at this position where we are pretty much at the end of the day here for the Kung Fu Cup. But as I've been saying, we're going to be live for at least the next 3 to 4 hours from now. We're going to have a 9 to 10 hour stream today. It's just going to be nice and long, loads of games, loads of action. It's going to be good. Coma Duster gifting a sub to OG Mr. Grumpy Gills. What's up, OG Mr. Grumpy Gills? Welcome to the fam. I feel like I saw you in the base trade chat yesterday, maybe? So what's up? Welcome to the Wardy family. Let's see some Wardy Capopas in the chat, because that's what we're doing today. We're Capopering all of our new members. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much, Coma Duster, for gifting out a subscription. We're 1 sub away from our sub goal, guys. 349. It's pretty crazy. We'll do a giveaway after this game if we hit 350. And as we do see a couple of Stalkers cleaned up the pylons, the expansions are about to come down. Patience and Stats, Twilight Council versus Stargate, and it is now going to be the time for Patience to crack out the Dark Shrine here in this 5th and final game. He's going to put the Dark Shrine down, see what he can come up with. Meanwhile, Stats has a Nexus coming down onto the Natural. And you're going to be seeing the initial Stargate play as the Phoenix, so he's not immediately going to have an Oracle or anything to detect either, so that's going to be a little bit painful here, as we do see, well, it's a Depth Shading forwards. Oh man, if he doesn't even have the early Oracle, he's going to be missing energy, so this is so painful. This probe up here is going to get ready to put down the pylon very shortly. These 2 Stalkers show up with an Adept into the main base, so that's going to get some damage done here, actually. I mean, in fairness, he's going to be able to pick away quite a few probes. Phoenix shows up as well, so he can even lift up the Stalker, and now he can turn that fight into his favor, and he scouts the Dark Shrine, so he stalks a Robo, and he gets an Oracle on the way. Stats with a huge scout here by getting into the main. That's absolutely insanely important for himself now, as we're going to be seeing this last Stalker will get one final probe, and that will be it. But boy, were they worthwhile. That was absolutely fantastic, as the Dark Shrine is going to be finishing up. Well, Dark Shrine finishes up, the Robo is about to be done, the first Oracle will be here shortly. This is going to be a defense, it feels like, as we see Stats even just going to lift up this Adept to clean it out. So let's have a lot of ground units on the map, though, I have to say. So actually, seeing the DTs is fine, but actually getting rid of them might not be so easy. I guess he's going to have to use the Oracle, maybe. Actually, he doesn't even have energy for the Pulse Beam. But I guess if you get the Observer out, nothing scary is going to happen until then, so then you can just use the Oracle for the kill once the Observer is out here from the Robo. So he gets that. He's going to get this DT, which is currently lifted. Hey, what happens if an Observer flies out of range while the DT is lifted? Does it stay detected? I guess it probably does, right? I guess it probably does. Well, that's going to be intriguing. We do see a couple of Stalkers coming in here, and they're going to start working their way against this pylon. There's the DT. There's a fair amount of units and patience, but it feels as though with an Oracle here as well, there's probably actually enough to turn this around. Oracles are actually pretty good at fighting when they're not being targeted down instantly, and that's kind of the case right now. Comes in, pushes back one Stalker, 3 more Stalkers warp in. No expansion from Patience, completely all in here at the end of the day. Stats just killed his own probe. That just happened. He didn't like it. Oh, how dare you build a pylon right there. That's exactly right. I didn't want the pylon, you idiot. Devs and Stalkers pushing forwards. One Stalker going down. Double Oracle will add so much damage to this. It makes it difficult for the Stalkers because they have to keep on kiting away. And it's just going to turn the numbers into Stats' favor, who holds the worker lead as well. And obviously when you hold a worker lead like this, it starts to really go your way over time. As we are going to be seeing, well, Phoenix lifting up the Stalker, and we are going to be having Adepts killing off a Stalker as it comes on in. And again, the warp-ins are slow as well, which obviously doesn't help out either. Although, I guess Stats for a moment here will lose another Stalker. It's just when the Phoenix are running out of energy. Stats actually going to have to pull back. He starts a couple of shield batteries. He starts up an Immortal. I mean, that really is going to be the end of this attack if you can get it up. But he does need to get the Immortal out onto the map still. Can the Immortal actually move through this pylon and the gateway? I feel like it might be a little bit stuck. One shield battery cancel, starts another. Stats is still having to defend this here. This is pretty intense. This is way more than intense than I thought. As we see, there we go. The Immortal comes down. So that's going down and pushing forwards. We are going to be seeing... Well, yeah, I guess in the end, I mean, the Immortal is just so powerful against those Stalkers, right? So, slow warp-ins as well means these Adepts don't even show up in time. And eventually, Stats holds this off, but god damn, this was not easy. Like, this really took every last little bit of something you could throw his way.